All right, let's do this again, one last time. My name is Gilbert Sampianis, and for the last 4 years, I've been the one and only Spider Gilbs. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fulcrum Entertainment Podcast. I am Spider Gilbs. I'm joined by, of course, by Harry the Spider Goth,
Hey.
and today we're going to be talking about what is probably I don't know if I want to say it's the best Spider-Man movie now, but it is. It's up there. It's definitely like if it's not the best, it's definitely a close second.
Oh yeah, it's way up there.
Yeah, so in case you guys don't know, we are talking about the web slinging adventure, the awesome, incredible, most just balls to the wall story that is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Or some assholes on the internet like to say Miles Morales Across the Spider-Verse. I'm sorry, yeah. I have to call out the assholes who that whole Miles Morales is Miles Morales thing. Y'all are dicks. And that's coming from a Spider-Man. I'm kidding. Okay, actually, I'm gonna take this off because this thing's hot as shit.
Yeah, man. With as hot as it's been here in the UK, I can't imagine what it's like in New Mexico right now.
Yeah, no, it's like 90 degrees outside right now, so and my air conditioner's blasting full like force, so I really shouldn't be wearing a leather jacket.
Oy, 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 oy.
Anyway,
Mr. Action, I don't know what's wrong with Miles. Some people, I don't know. They don't seem to get the concept that like the entire point of these movies and the entire point of frankly comics is that there's loads of different Spider people. And they're all Spider-Man or Spider-Person, Spider-Woman, whatever they are.
yeah, they are all spider people, and that's the beauty of it. Is they are part of the Spider Society. They all need to stop, but like it's all right. So there's some people, I'm sure it's a small amount. Let's fingers crossed, but some of them are racist. Others just are like some of them are are racist. Others are just like what they just don't like Miles Morales, and they can't get past that. Like they don't like the fact that he's just Spider-Man, but and for a different audience.
Mm-hmm.
Like so that's my thing. Is it just? But yeah, that's basically what it is. What was my canon event? Well, I got bit by a radioactive stoner. I'm kidding.
Glowing Tommy Chong.
Hey man. Yeah, no, but I got bit by a radioactive Deadpool and became. I wonder, whoa, that'd be a whole no, but anyway, I was gonna have a whole Earth thing instead of Spider Guild. I was gonna put Earth 420 and have like Harrison's like Earth 1922 or whatever, because I think that's when I looked up. That's when the UK was founded. Fun fact. I guess it was like the United Kingdom. I think not England itself. That was like 1925 AD or 925 AD.
Oh right, okay, right, yeah, because like I don't know.
Apparently the four whatever countries that now make up your country, nation, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. The point is, I googled it. I googled when was the UK formed, and that's the answer I got. So I was just going to put Earth 1922. But anyway, enough of a history lesson. Let's go ahead and talk about Spider-Man. So this movie, all right. I'm gonna start off with our poll. I put out a community poll on I think it was on Wednesday or maybe Tuesday, but I was thinking, okay, I'll get some interesting comments. Maybe some people will like it, some people will hate it. For the vast majority, what I got here is 27 or 22% say it was a masterpiece, 10% say it was pretty good, 5% say it was okay, 4% say it sucked, and a whopping 59% did not even watch it. And that's out of 168 people who answered.
Oh wow!
That is surprising as hell to me to see how many people either just had no interest in it, or just or also didn't like it. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to say if you didn't watch it, that means you probably weren't going to like it, or you probably just weren't interested in it. So I'm going to put it at 63% did not like it or didn't watch it. So damn, dude, that's a massive majority there.
I'd like to hope that some of them it's like I just haven't watched it yet, and they will eventually watch it. But hey, who knows? Who knows?
Mr. Action, yeah, he says it was a masterpiece, and damn right it was. He says L for the 4%. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, like you're missing out on like not just a great like Spider-Man movie, great superhero movie, but it's a great movie, like a great animated movie. I wish more animated movies were doing what this movie was doing.
Real quick, I'm going to look at. We got to say hi to Peaky, who's in here. If you're still in here, what's up, Peaky? I hope you had fun on your Xbox stream. And we also got Tasha in here from over on Dead Guys. From Dead Guys Horde. So I want to say thank you for coming over here and showing some support to the Fulcrum Knights. And also we got Justin Morrison in here saying hi, everybody. So what's up? Let us know,
Hey,
all you guys who are in here. Let us know what you thought of this. Like, let me know what you guys thought of this movie, because UK became a thing in 1801. Okay, well, I'm an idiot then.
It is weird because I remember being taught as well, like when I was a kid, that like the Union Jack, like that flag was made like centuries ago, I believe. Like, but it's all different things, and how much of Ireland we controlled at the time, and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, but I think the UK as it is now, like you said, 1922 seems to be about it.
But regardless, whenever it started, it doesn't really matter because you're Spider Goth.
Yeah, I'm Spider Goth. Yeah. Like Spider Punk was taken. I am Spider Goth, the less fun version. It's just like, what's Spider Goth?
And he was really cool too. Like, all right, so let's go ahead and talk about that. Like, so, who was your like? I would say, who was your favorite Spider person, just to start off with?
Ooh, that is difficult because I did like Spider Punk a lot. You know, like I really like it. It's great to see Daniel Kaluuya, like doing the voice for that and doing a British voice as well, like for once instead of just playing American like he always is normally doing.
Is he actually British?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Because when I've only seen him speak with a British accent one other time, and that was on Black Mirror. And I'm like, oh, dude, I didn't realize that was his actual voice.
Yeah. He's a British actor. He's been in a few things. He was in a show called Psychoville. It was really good. A weird like sci-fi show when he was younger. Like he was kind of like acting as a teen in the UK way back in the day. No, and I've loved seeing him, like his success like in Hollywood and stuff. It's great to see him around more. And like last time I saw him in Nope, but he was huge. He was giant, Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh, that's right. He was in Nope, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I kind of put that movie out of my mind. I stopped. The real monster was old rich white people the whole time.
Hey, and one rich Asian dude as well.
Oh yeah. I guess gotta be inclusive, but whatever. Oh wow, we got all right. Melvin says, I thought it wasn't very good. It had too many things wrong with it. The first one was much better. That's interesting. Okay, so what was wrong with it? Like I don't know. I am hesitant to say that the first one was better, because the first one was very good. It was very, very good. The second one, though, expanded a lot on that universe, on the whole universe building, and like, look at what we can do with it. Look at what we can do with, like, the multiverse, and look at this, like, Indian Peter Parker. Look at this, all these different female Spider people. Like we got the cartoons, the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. They showed Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Hey, that was a big thing for a lot of people. Don't you, me Harrison?
No. I was doing that to Mr. Action. I think Mr. Action did point out he's just kidding. But no, Melvin, you're not going to get banned for your opinion.
Yeah, no. If it wasn't very good, like, that's fine. But I'm interested to hear what you didn't think. Like, if you didn't like it, what didn't you like about it? So, like, what was wrong? I heard some person. So I'll go to this part. There was a comment on the poll that we did, and a person said 2.5 hours and no ending, not even remotely resembling an ending. So I'm going to disagree with that first part, because I'm like, I think it had like 3 endings. It had like Gwen Stacy going to his parents and being like, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry, I don't know where Miles is, but I'll get him back." And then she, when you get him back, tell him we love him. And then she leaves. That's a part where the movie could have ended. Another part is when Spot shows up and everything's all like sinister. Again, like that's a part where it ends. Like the part where Miles gets the twist that, spoiler alert, everybody, that Miles is the Prowler in Universe 42. Yeah. I'm like, so like all of these things, that movie had like 4 different endings within like 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I could understand some of that, like, because I went into it not knowing that it was, setting up for a third movie, and that we were going to get this sort of, like, not because I think someone else might have referred to it as like the Empire Strikes Back of this series, which it has that kind of role. I will say that I think like the Empire Strikes Back does a better job at having a satisfying ending as a movie, even though it's a down ending. Whereas this one for me did feel a lot more like, oh, there's a bunch of unresolved stuff, and I know I need to come back for that. But I can understand a bit. But I don't agree that it was dissatisfying, but again, it's movies, it's subjective, so I can see why someone might be.
Yeah, who's to say what constitutes a good or bad movie? Honestly, like because like yeah, like you said, it's subjective. Like if you didn't like it, that's that's going to be personal taste. And like if you like another thing that leads me to part two of this, that the guy says they took the comic book visuals and the original and dialed it up to 100-fold, so it's obnoxious, blurry, and hard to watch. I'm like, I don't know. I found the first movie kind of hard to watch too. I was sitting there watching it like, is it supposed to be like this? Am I supposed to be wearing glasses or something to make this? Like I was honestly confused by that. So I'm like, I feel like they're just kind of going with Miles' a stylized, kind of like weird, like blurred version of the world. That's what I mean. Is that's his version in the same way that like Gwen Stacy's is very pastel and like very like pinkish, has a lot of purples in there. Like it's
like
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the varying art styles and the things they do. I did notice some bits that I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice, and I don't think it's bad, but I was like, I maybe wouldn't have chosen to do that. But there were loads of characters where you could like see like the guidelines of their drawing, like you can see like where they've sort of built the skeleton like first. So like the Spot, you can see it really clearly. Even Miguel O'Hara, like when you're looking at his face, you can see like where they've done like the outline, like where an artist would have done that before then, like properly making the drawing. But I really enjoy that. Like I think it's something that I wish more movies were doing, because when you're in animation, and particularly 3D CGI animation, you can do absolutely anything, and I like it when people do it. I like one thing, we looked at Star Wars Visions recently, and like Star Wars Visions, you got that very first one in season 2, Sith, I believe is the short, and that does a lot of stuff with like these very artsy backgrounds, huge color flying everywhere. And I was like, this movie does that sort of aesthetic better than that did. Like, and I love it.
And yeah, and it finds a way, like just like it did in the first one, it finds a way to make each different art style. Like I would say Gwen's and Miles are pretty similar, but more or less all of them are like they're in their own kind of style. Like especially Hobie with his like weird, they're using like it looks almost like paper, like kind of like South Park-esque, because then they're using like actual paper to to make his body and his color.
Yeah,
like it looks like they're using like old British newspapers and shit like that.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that. Like again, I can see how it can be distracting, but for me, just like just loved it.
Let's see here. All right, so Melvin says first it was too long. I guess 2.5 hours is kind of a sit. Like you do have to kind of and for a minute there, I was kind of like, damn, dude, they're taking it kind of like if I had a problem with it, it's the fact that like for the first hour of the movie, Spot is kind of a big thing, and then he just kind of fucks off for the rest of the movie. And then Miguel O'Hara and the Spider Society become the bad guys, and it's just like, oh, that's right, Spot's in this. Like I remember watching this, and I'm like, oh shit, that's right, Spot's in it. When he showed up at the very end, I'm like, fuck, dude, like there's a whole
deal with him at some point.
There's like a whole other movie we have to do. Oh, that's and then this will be continued in Beyond the Spiderverse. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing there. Is that they wanted to establish Spot for a minute, but then also establish that Miguel O'Hara is kind of a dickhead.
They established that hard. They go real hard on that. Like, no, Miguel O'Hara is such a douchebag in this.
Although I did this I was in my cubicle at work, and I decided to, with a pen, I just decided to do. Here, let me see if I can get. I'll get my.
That's real nice.
Thank you.
Like
that and I did this one yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. So yeah, I've been getting really into doing Spider-Man drawings myself. So it's real. It was. I don't know. I feel like I can deal with the 2-hour thing, but just because you see all the different art styles and the animation styles and see how cool they all like mesh and like mix with each other. Let's see. Melvin says second, it had all the teen angst filler that just wasn't necessary. It took up time they didn't have. Okay, here's my problem with that. Is that so I went today. It was I went to like 11 o'clock my time to go see Spider-Man again, and it was like theater wasn't even like a quarter of the way full. There was maybe like 20 people in this theater, and it was mostly like dads and moms with their kid, or like a dad with like 2 or 3 kids, like a couple parents with a child. Like it was like families, and I'm sitting there like off in my little corner just because I'm like I want to be angsty and like by myself, and I'm just seeing like all these different families. They're just like, oh, that's cool. Oh my god, that's so cool. And then when we get to the part where like it's Gwen and her dad, I hear some of the kids being like, that's her dad's mean. Like he's doing like that kind of, it's meant for the kids. Like that whole thing is meant for children. Like that whole teen angst thing is meant to like it is meant to be kind of like a heartfelt thing for families and children to be like, aw, they reconciled and they came to an understanding and he loves her and she loves him. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can understand where you feel like it drags out, but at the same time, I'm like, think about, like, I always remember, who is this movie made for? And the answer, of course, is always children. Like that's the thing, is that like I'm almost 30 years old. I'm like, Spider-Man is not really for me anymore,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it was interesting. Some of the kids that we had. There was some kid that kept saying stuff. I remember at one point there was like a fade to black out of a scene, and some kid just in the theater just went balls. And I have no idea, I don't know why. I can't remember the scene. I could just remember this kid going balls. Like, all right, you upset about that kid?
Okay. You're never supposed to be Spider-Man. Balls to you. Dude, I can imagine some kid like just watching like either one of his like whatever someone insult Miles Morales or something like that and just be like balls. I just imagine that like some kid who just enjoys the shit out of Miles Morales getting pissed off at Miguel O'Hara. Let's see. Third, they didn't give an ending after padding it out and making it too long. Why not cut out the filler and give us an end? Again, I feel like we did have an ending. It was an open-ended one. Like it was a cliffhanger ending, but it was definitely an ending. But again, I think it had like Lord of the Rings syndrome, where it just didn't know when to end. It didn't. They made all this cool stuff, and then they're just like, okay, fuck. Well, how do we end this now? Fuck it, kill Boromir. But no, what I mean is also like I think it's the last one, The Return of the King. It's like that movie has like 3 or 4 endings because again, like they blow up the thing and then the Eagles save them. Then he wakes up in Rivendell. Then they get on the boat. Then they're back at the shot. Like, or you know what I mean? It's like there are at least like 4 different endings in that movie. It just doesn't know how to do it. Like it's just like fuck, dude. We made this awesome story and now we don't know how to just be like, all right, guys, that's it. Later. Like that. I think that's the problem it had, is that it just did a lot. And it didn't, and it kind of painted itself into a way that it's like, fuck, unless we keep going, like, what is the actual ending here?
Yeah, I think it's a real risk, and I think you can see it's with like because you're not alone, Melvin. Like people have been annoyed that they didn't have like a satisfying ending to that single movie, like, and they've obviously kind of taken that risk of they are intending it to be this trilogy. We're not going to finish stuff here. We're going to finish it in the 3rd movie, which I'm not sure how I feel about it because like I was a bit like, oh, okay, right, that makes sense. But I'm hoping, I'm trying to have faith that it's all going to pan out. Like I say, there've been plenty of trilogies where it hasn't, so I am a little worried. But the guys, I love that first movie so much. There was so much in this one that I enjoyed. But this movie, and I've seen other stuff that's come from these creators, and they have a habit of turning out great stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust these people that they can pull it off.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I think that they do just fine. Like Sony has shown that they can, that when it comes to Spider-Man, they are doing just fine. Like between the video games, the movies, the TV show, they know what they're doing with Spider-Man. So I think I trust them. Melvin says 4th, the art styles were really annoying. Really annoying. Ooh. The first 25 minutes were epileptic stuff. No need. Okay, the 25 minutes, that was all Gwen's story. That was like her with her dad. And it was a lot of like you said, it was a lot of changing. Like the color changes a lot, like at the drop of a hat. I don't know. I kind of like that. I really did like the stylized thing of it, and I think the reason they did that particularly is because to differentiate it from Miles's universe, because the style of her universe and the style of his are very, very similar. Like Go ahead.
I agree with that. There are things that I'm seeing that how this can be like a big divide. So I do appreciate that. Like it's not going to work for some people. For me, really worked. Really liked it. Like one of the things I really liked about it was how much the backgrounds were reflecting things that were going on, like with characters and plot points. So I went with somebody who's watched the movie, and they pointed out to me afterwards. They were like, in that movie, there's a thing where like I think it's in the scene when Captain Stacy like finds out Gwen is Spider-Woman, and he's red. He's like entirely red. And then as they talk and stuff, like he changes color and he goes to blue or stuff like that.
Like his face gets all darker.
Yeah, and then this is, and then it gets to the point where like it feels like there's a change in him, but when he goes like, he continues with trying to arrest her, and there's this like red line in it, like it just has this real visual what's the word I'm looking for, symbolism, and I really appreciate the artistry of that. Like it's gorgeous. I'm gonna want to see this movie again at some point so that I can pick out everything.
Yeah, I loved the part where like when he's trying to arrest her and she's like, "Are you serious?" Like she starts taking a step. Are you really that afraid of? Bang, and the whole thing turns red, and it's just like, damn, like you can definitely see how serious they were trying to make it seem in that moment. And I'm like, it very much like the artistry of like the her universe and the way they made it look definitely kind of like I don't know, it brought it home for me. I definitely enjoyed that and it made it a lot better. See, Melvin says, should I go on? If you want to, man, by all means. I'm not going to stop you. Like, I would love to hear if you didn't like it. That I would love to hear why, and not just because like what people don't understand about me is I'm fine with dissenting opinions. If you don't like the movie, that's fine. What it pisses me off is when your reasons for not liking the movie. If it's just that, oh, it sucked because I don't like girl Spider-Man, I'm like, well, then fuck you, dude. No one likes you. But if you legitimately didn't like the animation style, I'm like, I want to know why. Let's talk this out, man. Let's have a conversation. And what's going on, Hans? Good to see you in here, man. See, Mr. Action says he loves the story, which I agree. My problem is that with the story is that it just kind of paced a little weird because again, that guy mentioned, Spot, he's there and it makes it a big thing, kind of building up. Is like, you were my nemesis, you created me, you hit me with a bagel, like, which I also love that. I love that little reference as well. But yeah, just the stuff that they did. I enjoyed that, but then like I said, he just kind of leaves, and then like he gets all uber powerful in the Indian universe, and then just just disappears, and he's nowhere to be found for another hour. And I understand that's because they wanted to also establish, oh yeah, the canon events and why Miles Morales isn't on the team and whatever. But it's just like, yeah, like it was weirdly paced. It felt like it was two movies in one almost.
Yeah, which again, I can completely see like why that isn't going to work for some people, and I'm not entirely sure like how much it worked for me. There's enough in it that I enjoyed that I came away from it being like, yeah, I'm happy with this. But like, I'm gonna be happier when the third movie comes out and I can finish off that story and I can get that more satisfying ending. And I think it might be one of those ones where you can enjoy. Now, was this, who goes to see a movie with teen angst? Who says, let's go see the new teen angst movie? It'll be great. I mean, I will say that's kind of Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, like they were very spot on with that part. Like I will address this in a second, but yeah, they were very spot on with like the fact that Spider-Man's life is a sacrifice. It's trauma. Like even watching Paviter Prabhakar, I don't even know the Indian dude. Watching him like try to go save like both his girlfriend and her dad, I'm like, oh crap, this is his defining Spider-Man moment. Like, yeah, and when they fucked it up, I'm like, oh no, that's not going to be good.
I did like that. I thought that was a really nice bit of storytelling because like it does, like, especially if you know your Spider-Man, and it's quite easy to know at least a good amount of Spider-Man. As soon as you see that and like Gwen gets that little pop-up, it's like, oh damn it, I know what's going to happen here. Miles is going to be a superhero because that's the thing. A Spider-Man that doesn't know anything about that would do that. It's something, like hell, like there's only one Spider-Man here, but not this time. We can change things. We can make it work this time. Of course, you'd help out. But then it's like, yeah, but the Citadel of Ricks is angry about that because it's a change of the timeline.
And then and again, I understand that what he said is that you can change the canon, and like you can, if you end up changing the canon, or if you do too many changing canon events, then the universe can just be destroyed. Like, and it could end up being like ruining. Basically, what it sounds like he's describing to me is an incursion event from like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like he's describing a universe being destroyed because something that's not supposed to be there is there.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
Like, and I feel like they are very much connecting it to that because the first thing we see before that he shows them the Spider-Verse web is the tree with all the different like branching paths that we see in Loki and all these other shows. I'm like, they are very much connecting it.
I did really like that Miles called Miguel out on that, where he's like, "This is everything." He's like, "You want to be more specific than that, man?" It's like Miguel is like way too much like the dark, the anti-hero. Like, yeah, this is everything. This is what it is. I'm the only
Agreed.
protector.
I don't get what's
Like,
up with the I don't get what's up with the vampirism thing. That's kind of new.
yeah, I noticed that. I was like, again, another thing that I wanted to see what they were going for with that in the third movie. I hope some explanation comes of that.
See, all right, now to actually answer your question, who goes to those movies? My brother and me went to a movie called Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is it's nothing but teenage angst, dude. That's like that's the whole movie is about. So some people do. Don't knock it. That's all I gotta say. Now,
Yeah, and it's interesting because when you said teen angst, Melvin, I was like, you're correct. There is a lot about that, but it really I didn't think of it that way. If that makes sense, like it all made sense to me. Of like, yeah, Miles is going to do this. One of the things I found interesting was that I have heard like a lot of those stories of Spider-Man before. You know, you get the Spider-Man has to hide what he's doing from Aunt May. He has to, like, him and MJ are almost breaking up again because he couldn't make it on time again. And while there is a bit of like, yeah, I've heard this story, the fact that it was from a different person did refresh it a bit. Like, it's not just May, it's not just Mary Jane again. It's he has both his parents. Both his parents have these like standards for him and like what he's going to do. I was, yeah, it kept me going. But again, I can see where you're coming from.
Interesting. Yeah, like I don't know, man. I kind of see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I'm like I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I'm going to say that.
Yeah. The same. Yeah. I absolutely thought it was good, and I will agree with you, Gil, that again, Melvin, like subjective stuff. If you don't like seeing T-Nex in the movie, it's not entertaining for you. That's cool. I don't find cars entertaining, hence why I don't watch the Fast and the Furious movies. But like every now and then something nice and angsty, it can be nice. Like I've watched High Fidelity a lot, and that's not even teen angst. That's old man who hasn't grown up yet angst. And I still like that movie.
The entire generation that watched Degrassi, those people like teen angst.
Yeah, exactly.
See, so Hans, first of all, before I answer your question, he says, I somehow suspect Melvin has a similar taste to mine when it comes to certain movies. To be frank, I haven't seen this one, but I see myself in his writing. Yeah, I guess. You guys do have a bit of a kind of a simpatico on that. It says better or worse than the first, though. Already had a tough time with the first one. I would say it's comparable to the first. I don't know because the first one it was very driven and it was like straightforward and knew what it wanted to do and it did it. This one, like I said, it was kind of like felt like two movies amalgamated into one, and and at some points it didn't know how to end that, and at some points it kind of didn't know how to pace it correctly. But I still think all right. I think that if they can stick the landing with Beyond the Spider-Verse, this one might become like the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy.
Yeah. It's sad how often I'm going to have to say that, but it is going to be the third. The proof is going to be in the third movie. Like, can they pull it off? And I'm terrified that this is going to be a Pirates of the Caribbean situation where Dead Man's Chest came out and it was awesome and it was amazing, and then we got At World's End or whichever one it was, and ooh dear, it just did not work.
Well, all right, so so fifth. Lego. Even with an infinite amount of multiverses, some things will still be impossible. Lego will never naturally evolve in any universe. Okay, but we did see that, though, is that when we had, like, again, in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, he goes with her into, like, the paint universe, and, like, they splash into a thing of paint for a minute, and then they come out of that universe, they go into, like, a weird hellscape universe. Like, they do show that multiple multiverses are real, and, yeah, like, I understand what you're getting at, but that was just a fun way of them connecting it to the Lego, the Lego movie kind of stuff. Like that was all they were doing was just, hey guys, what if we made a Lego Spider-Man? Because we have those.
Yeah, I do disagree with you on this one, Melvin. Like, partly one, it's the entire point of an infinite thing is it's infinite possibilities. So the idea that something would be impossible is not true. As Douglas Adams taught us, nothing is impossible, only very, very improbable. So like, it's just like
hitchhikers.
It can happen, like that's all. And also, like we don't know what the rules of that universe are. We don't know what things are based around. That might be ruled by a god that made a living, Lego set. Like,
yeah, see,
I don't know.
If the Infinity Stones, if the multiverse exists and the Infinity Stones exist, how is it that a Lego verse couldn't just be into existence? I'm like, come on. They don't have to eat. They don't have to drink. What if they're just Lego people? Like what? I'm like, no one questions this when we watch like the Lego movie and Emmett's walking around doing his thing. No one questions that.
And like the thing of like humans who look like Da Vinci art will never evolve. Well, it wasn't that like that they were humans that look like it, but it's the universe that they're from. That's the style.
Just
It's like
everything.
one
Yeah,
of the things. One of the things I love about the movie is that people come from different universes with a different art style, like Spider-Ham in the first movie. Like, you know, he is a more classic cartoon. You know, he's supposed to look like Porky Pig in a Spider-Man costume, you know, Mickey Mouse, Looney Tunes, that kind of deal. So he looks different. He has a different style to everybody else. Same thing with Penny Parker. She's the anime one, so she looks different. And
yeah.
rather than it being just like a stylistic thing for us, the other characters can see it, you know, and so like Gwen comments on it, like, you appear to be like made out of paper, dude. And I really liked that because, like, you know, I liked the Da Vinci tie-in with, you know, like Da Vinci and his flying machines. If you guys have played Assassin's Creed 2, shit like that comes up in that all the time. I
The
was like,
grenades and
that's kind of
stuff.
cool. Yeah,
Also, his mask, dude, like the plague doctor mask thing that he had on, that when he goes to like full vulture, oh, it looks so cool.
yeah, and again, it's one of the things that I love about comic books. That comic books have this range to do stuff like that. That you can have a run that is about stuff like that. You know, you can have somebody who goes, "I'm going to make a stylized comic book," because half of this story is the art we use to tell it. And you know, like these movies reflect that. They reflect the art that is within the stories that they are based on. I adore that.
Let's see. Sixth, I hated the music, but it already pissed me off by then. So I'll put that down to my taste rather than a problem with the movie. Yeah, all right. I'll be honest. The music for this one, it kind of feels like they phoned it in a little bit. Like they really weren't focusing on the like, unlike the first one, they were really focusing on the music of it all. Like because that was a big thing, was the soundtrack that they got for the movie. Because like Miles, like the way he relaxed, the way he calmed down was by listening to music, and by like singing his favorite Post Malone song. So I'm like but in the second one, it felt like what they were really trying to focus on was the animation. Was like, look at all these different worlds we can make. Look at the cool stuff we can do. Sorry, my dogs are losing their shit right now. Shut up!
But yeah, the soundtrack was not as good as the first movie. I'll go with you on that. I enjoyed the music. I agree with you, Melvin. I think that probably is a taste thing. But yeah, it didn't hit quite the same. Again, you know, you don't have like the awesome Biggie tracks that you had from like the first movie that really I felt fit in very well with the character. I'll be honest, I like music, but I'm terrible at recognizing people. So Mr. Action saying, check on the dogs, they might be dying. I don't know, maybe like some sort of weird spider creature.
There's someone knocking at my door, and like I think it was the postman, but they're losing their shit. But anyway, yeah, sorry, give me one more second. I was gonna close my door.
I mean, Melvin, the thing about an infinite number of chimps with typewriters, the saying is literally they will eventually write Shakespeare. Like that's the thing. When you have an infinite number of possibilities, literally all things are possible. That's
indeed.
That's the whole thought experiment. That's the entire point of it.
And see, and if you look at it like that, maybe the Lego verse isn't actually Lego. That's just how they're animated. That's their version of animation, is stop motion animation. You know what I mean? That's how I end up looking at it.
Yeah. We could have a claymation universe. We could have everything, but whatever. And whatever.
Yeah, if you didn't like it, that's fine. That's all you. That's all you. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, okay, boomer. You know, like some people.
It's okay, Mr. Action. We still like you.
Yeah. So he says, yeah, Mr. Action, you're right. The soundtrack only had 3 good songs. Like I think that song at the end that Uncle Aaron or whatever the guy puts on when he's about to beat the shit out of Miles. I think that one's kind of cool. See, with him, you'll never get the complete works of Shakespeare with him hitting random keys. Some things will remain impossible. I don't know. Well, again, dude, it's like you said, it's a thought experiment. And that's what this multiverse thing really is at the end of the day too. Is a thought experiment.
Well, it's like the number pi. Pi has like a theoretically infinite number of like decimal places after it, and within pi, within that number, you will find like every combination of anything. You can find like every note that's ever existed. If you put them all out numerically, you can find it within there. Like that's the point of infinity. All things can happen theoretically within like infinity. So like, yeah, I'm down with it. I'm down with the infinite number of monkeys and chimps and Shakespeare and whatever. At some point, you'll also get 50 Shades of Grey. You might get that before Shakespeare. You never know. But you know, Dr. Manhattan showed us time is a flat circle or whatever that was. So,
okay. So My bad. My brother just took me. He's the one who's here. That's why my dogs are freaking out. It's because my brother just walked in my house.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah. So I'll let him deal with them for the time. But for the time being, yeah. So like you said, yeah, it's an infinite world, infinite number of realities, and infinite possibilities. I'm like, I don't see it as a problem, but that's just me. What I do want to talk about a little bit is the voice cast. So we had it. I had it here. So we got the obvious ones. We got Haley Steinfeld, which Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, whatever you want to call her. We had Shamik Moore, Miles Morales, and of course Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara. But we got a few characters that actually kind of surprised me. So yeah, we talked about him already. The Indian Spider-Man was Karan Soni. That was for you guys who don't know who that is. It was Dopinder from Deadpool.
Yeah, it's good to see him.
Yeah, that was cool. We got, let's see, Jorma Tacone, which the dude who's like the second to Andy Samberg for the Lonely Island. He was the Vulture. Andy Samberg was Ben O'Reilly, which was awesome. It's like,
yeah,
I'm cloned from Peter Parker, and I live such a sad life. Oh, that was a particularly sad memory. I'm like, oh my god, he's so good. He's like, it's awesome. You'll never get out with perfectly defined muscles.
I did like this one, like, there is something strange in front of me. Looking at these walls, they're normal. What is this? It's just like, I love his like narration, because like that's one of the things that like I remember as a comic reader used to annoy me sometimes about Peter Parker, was like how much you get his inner monologue, and it'd be stuff like, gotta make it to the surface, gotta get there. I'm like, yes, I know, Peter, you're Spider-Man, you have to go and save them, you don't need to tell me.
I feel like that's a commentary on how the 90s like Ben Reilly Spider-Man, what like the Scarlet Spider comics were, because they were kind of campy. Ben was kind of cringe.
Good to see him. I love the Scarlet Spider design. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man designs. There's just something fun about it.
Oh, it's definitely cool having that like badass like hoodie thing that he has with the spider symbol on it. That is really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really enjoyed how much like when he was doing the defined muscles bit, and it just Miles like sets off his web shooters and just suckers him.
Yeah, that was great. And then also later on, the same thing. When I'm looking at the walls, they appear in and he gets thrown through the freaking portal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Daniel Kaluuya was Spider-Punk, which was awesome.
Yeah, Spider-Punk. I love Spider-Punk so much. Like Spider-Punk was one of the few characters that I was like, okay. I think my biggest issue that we'll probably get onto, like talking in full at some point after we get after the cast, is that I don't like all the Society of Spiders being after Miles, because it involves a bit like the Civil War movie did, and kind of the comic in ways. It involves those characters acting very un-Spider-Man, in my opinion. And I love that Spider-Punk like stuck to his guns. Of he's like, I ain't part of this. I don't agree with any of this, and he helps Miles get out. I kind of was hoping he'd stick around a bit more and be more active, rather than just being like, hey, use your electric things with your palms against the glass. But I was like, I was happy with it. Was punk a bad stereotype? Bad stereotype of what? Of punk people? Because I'd say no. Because
of like a punk culture, he's pretty right on.
Yeah, like because part of it was I said to the person I was with, I came out of that movie and I was like, oh yeah, Gwen Stacy, the teenager, and mentions, oh, this guy that I've been hanging out and crashing with, and I was like, of course it was a punk, because that is so typical of punks, of just like, hey, this is really cool punk dude that everyone kind of knows. He's always around the bar. He likes him. He does have a habit of hanging around with teenagers though, because adults won't put up with him. And it's like,
okay, I don't know. It's unconfirmed how old Hobie Brown is. So because I think Gwen is supposed to be like 15, she's supposed to be in high school. We're going to say that he's in high school too. We're going to say that Hobie is like 15, 16 years old. So I'll give it 17 just to be nice, but or just be like.
I came away with that being like, he is in his 20s, and like, it's like,
that's not great, dude. Because the whole thing of like, I implied right away the fact that she's like, oh yeah, he's just some guy. Lets me crash in his universe sometimes. I'm like,
yeah, and to be fair, Parvi, the Indian Spider-Man, does do that thing of like, have you told him about Hobie, which implies there's something to say about Hobie. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was.
Then Hobie says, "Wait, are those my Chucks?" Like talking about his shoe. She's wearing his shoes and his jacket later on. Like when she goes to see Miles, she's wearing his sweater. Like she was wearing. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Maybe that's just me, but I've just known too many guys like that who were just like, you sir didn't grow up like the rest of the people did, and now you're like, for better or worse, I stuck with a bunch of people who are younger than you. And maybe it's just Daniel Kaluuya's voice that makes me think that he's older. Maybe it's that.
Spider-Punk couldn't understand a word he said. Well, now you know how I feel.
That's xenophobic. I won't accuse you of being racist.
That's
xenophobic British.
That's jingoist at best.
I did enjoy. There's a bit where they did something which I was like both correct and wrong. So he hasn't got a Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
He did that, and I appreciated. I think Mr. Action, you mentioned them, the editor's notes, and they had the Scooby Doo Cockney rhyming slang for like doesn't have a clue. But I know people who use Scooby Doo. And to a certain extent, I still use it. And it's one of the worst things about Cockney rhyming slang is they never use the full sentence. They never use the full thing. So it's like apple and pears are stairs, but no one says apple and pears. They say apple. Like, and Scooby Doo, you don't say he hasn't got a Scooby Doo. You say he hasn't got a Scooby.
I would have figured that. I don't got Scooby. Yeah, like
yeah.
Or I've also heard we're rubbled, or I've heard we're Barney or Barneyed.
Yeah, it's in Ocean's 11 that is like improper Barney rubble, trouble. Yeah.
Like I've heard that kind of stuff before, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I didn't realize that was an actual thing.
Yeah, I don't know much Cockney rhyming slang. It is annoying sometimes when you hear it. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. But I'll get on the dog. I'm like, what? What are you on about? Get on the phone.
See, Mr. X says, I don't know about their relationship because Gwen's dad is a cop, and it's there's many things that are wrong with. I mean, think of the children. What interdimensional like abominations would they create? Think about it. Like weird pastel half Gwen babies, but also like have like partial Charlie Brown or not Charlie Brown. I don't know where I was going with that. Partial like newspaper weird crap. I don't know, man. That'd be weird.
Come out looking like Angela Anaconda.
See, Hans says I might burn in hell, but was there a sun spider? Best of the worst characters. Is there a sun spider?
Sun spider.
Sun spider. Marvel. Let's see. Okay, so Charlotte Weber. Oh yes, there was Sun Spider. She's the one who was in the wheelchair. She's like, do you think we use comedy as a crutch? Haha, get it, crutch? And she is Charlotte Weber was bitten by a radioactive spider 3 years ago and is now known as Sun Spider, but her EDS did not go away. So she still has she's still paralyzed from like the waist down.
Right, okay. Oh yeah, I was quite like that. I was kind of into that. Again, it's just like I really appreciate it. And just like it's anything at all. Like I mean, they had Peter Park's car.
Yeah, Peter Parked car. They had they had the Spider-Man Unlimited from that bad 2000s cartoon, but not the 90s Spider-Man.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, it'd be interesting to see the 90s Spider-Man. Like, I would like it if they could do that. We haven't mentioned all the live action stuff that we saw in that movie.
Oh, dude, the Venom chick. He went to see the freaking chick from Venom. The old lady.
I didn't spot what? Oh yes,
Spot.
Yes.
He goes through a portal. He's like, I'm an interdimensional being, and you're acting like this is just normal Tuesday. I'm like, yeah, that's because she knows Venom.
Yeah, I did wonder if that was the Venom one because I was like, I couldn't quite remember, but I was like, I'm guessing this is Venom. Yeah. I think everyone knows my opinions on Venom. I'm not that into that movie or that. I haven't seen the second movie yet. But yeah. No, but like with I always get him wrong. I always say the wrong Glover, but the Glover man.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover, thank you. Yeah, I always say Danny.
Yeah.
I always get it wrong.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah, when Childish Gambino turns up, which was interesting because I was like, everyone's talked about how he was going to be the Prowler, but he hasn't shown up as the Prowler yet. So this is technically his first appearance as the Prowler.
It's gonna happen. You know what that means? Live action Miles Morales, another Spider-Man movie. Like that is never. You will never ever hear me say the words, "Oh, boo, another Spider-Man movie." You'll never, like at least not seriously.
So yeah, that was interesting to see, and then we got like clips from the Amazing Spider-Man, and we got clips from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, like playing in the background when they were talking about canon events. That was interesting to see. Yeah, so I appreciate that they're going like, yeah, we're an animated movie, but we will literally deal with everything because we are talking about all Spider-Man stories, and it does mean though, I want my buff giant animated Peter Parker. I want Shocker. I'll tear you to pieces.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the Venom, the symbiote Spider-Man. I'll chase you to the ends of the earth. I love that.
Give me my Man Spider. What my Man Spider? Why do I haven't had a Man Spider movie yet?
Dude, straight up. Like,
which I did wonder whether that's maybe that's what they're going to do with Miguel O'Hara. Because I did wonder that with the biting fangs thing might have had something to do with that. Probably not, but I was like, and because he was injecting himself with something, I was like, maybe that's like keeping the Man Spider at bay. So I'd love it if I could see that.
He's got or maybe not Man Spider. Maybe that's he's got like Morbius DNA or something in him.
Ooh.
In fact, I'm going to look that up. Miguel O'Hara vampire. I'm going to see if that's actually a thing. Okay, so Miguel O'Hara. Control F, vampire. Yeah, no, it's no, that's Spider-Man characters. I'm just gonna say races. It just shows different races, different villains, different stuff, like different people who've been Spider-Man. But in like, okay, no, here we go. Talons and fangs. Miguel O'Hara possesses canine teeth that can produce non-toxic venom that can paralyze his enemies. He also has retractable talons at the tip of his fingers and toes that can dig and claw. Yeah, but he doesn't say anything about him being a vampire.
Okay. So maybe interesting. All right.
So they're playing with his story a little bit.
All right. Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Mr. Action. I'm talking about. Will we say Smosh Man Spider? I'm not sure I know Smosh, as in like the YouTube channel Smosh. Smosh Man Spider.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not that Man Spider. Not that Man Spider.
Charlotte Webber. About... It just occurred to me that character's name is Charlotte Webber. All right, I see why people don't like that one, because that's a dumb pun on a fucking book that honestly is overrated. Let's be honest. That pig should have just gotten eaten and turned into bacon. but I did enjoy. So real quick, I want to say I did enjoy all the fact that whoever made the team that made this movie clearly were Spider-Man fans, because they went through every Spider-Man thing that has ever existed, going all the way down to look at this canon event ASM 90. I googled that. As it turns out, yes, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Issue 90 is the death of Captain Stacy. So so I really did like that, how they actually do like their homework, and they're like, yeah, dude, like we're giving you all the tools to go look at this up yourself and go educate yourself on Spider-Man.
Oh, I love that bit when Spot turned up in like what appeared to be like original Spider-Man, like the Amazing Spider-Man, where like everything is the sort of old like dot printing, and that lady hit him with her bag. Really enjoyed that. What about Japanese Spider-Man with his Uzis? I know.
Dude. Oh no, but that would have been cool too if Japanese Spider-Man, because at that point he's not even honestly like. All right, so you know what? Let's talk about that for a second. He's a Spider-Man too, technically. Like it's somewhere in the multiverse, Japanese Spider-Man exists, but he didn't get his powers from being bitten by a radioactive spider. Aliens gave he has no actual powers. The suit, it's all the suit. Like it's an alien suit that comes out of the thing on his wrist, and he gets it from an alien spaceship, and he has a Megazord. It has nothing to do with that. Like they just call it Spider-Man because they were like, hey, can we make this? And Marvel told them yes, but you have to use the costume. Everything else about it they were allowed to do themselves, it is the weirdest fucking thing. So if we want to talk about canon events like breaking the universe, Japanese Spider-Man.
I mean, like if we got into that, there's the Electric Company Spider-Man, which like is a real deep cut one, like the one who's like hanging out with the postman and stuff.
No way, Electric Company Spider-Man.
Yeah, which I don't know much. This is like a piece of American history that I don't quite. I say American media history that I don't know very well. The Electric Company was like almost like a Sesame Street style like kids show.
Yeah, I know what that is, but I'm like, I didn't know that there was a Spider-Man on it.
Yeah, there was like a period where they would do little bits with Spider-Man. Spidey Super Stories is a live action returning skit on the version of the children's television show The Electric Company.
Let's see. And Melvin says in Infinite Multiverses, there must be DC stuff too. Keaton would be great. Dude, I've been saying it for years. To have a Batman multiverse movie, I would be all about it.
Yeah,
Get Chris Bale, Michael Keaton, even put Batfleck in there. Like if Adam West was still alive, but he's not, unfortunately.
If it would give me a live action Batman Beyond, I'd maybe okay with it. But I'm just like, I don't know.
Donald Glover's cameo was awesome. I love Mixed Art Media. That was cool. I like how Donald Glover's character wasn't flipping his shit when he saw all these cartoon characters around him.
Well, yeah, he's Childish Gambino. He's chill as all hell. Like he got no time to be freaked out.
Let's see. Justin Morrison says in Web of Spider-Man issue 50, I think, love Spider-Man's comedy. For instance, he was cracking jokes about Daredevil when they were races.
Like maybe racing, like they were racing.
Okay.
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, sorry, that. Yeah. So that's cool. All right, he does not need his superpowers. He's got Uzis. I mean, who needs powers when you have a gun? Let's see.
Mr. Action disagrees. He says multiverse Batman movie sounds cringe. He's not interested.
Oh, really? You don't want a Brave and the Bold Batman chilling out with Christian Bale? I think that'd be kind of cool.
Swear to me. I don't know how. Actually, I would kind of love to see Adam West and Christian Bale, like some version of those two working together.
Here's an interesting comment. I always thought Spidey was quick-witted and fun. What happened to this? What happened? The shift to traumatized PTSD Spidey. 2023 happened.
I think a lot of movies are doing this now. I think where they do that switch. I mean, like Guardians 3 was like that. Where Guardians 3 is a lot about how bad they've all had it and how sad all these people are, but it still is full of jokes and like humor. This movie is less full of humor, I will give that, but it's not unfunny. And the spider people aren't unfunny, except for O'Hara.
No, he's a bundle of laughs.
Yeah, but they still do it. I love Peter J. Parker, I think it is, or the Peter that was in the first movie.
Peter B. Parker.
Peter B. Parker, sorry. I love it when he turns up. The whole thing with his baby, with Mayday, is fun. I love that there's this whole section where he's just trying to get Miles to hold his baby. It's hold my baby. It's really rejuvenating. It'll make you feel happier. Then we can talk about this. It's just no, I am running away. Why don't you get this?
See, I like that though. There's a story there between him and between Peter and Miguel, how they're, because he defends Miguel, even though Miguel's very much a dickhead. He's nah, dude, Miguel's my buddy, and he's all cool. And even the kid seems to be comfortable climbing on him and being around him and shit. So I'm there's a story there. Clearly the guy must be a nice enough dude, or at least he was at one point.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think that there must be something there about that. It's interesting. I'm interested to see where it goes, because they've kind of really painted Miguel as the Punisher in this. Even when he was doing the stuff about how he tried to replace Miguel from another universe and have his family. I don't know why, but it really reminded me of the Punisher, and when his whole thing of I used to be happy and then my family was killed while eating a picnic.
Yeah, that it's depressing. Yeah. Let's see what see what was his thing. It was that Miguel O'Hara's that he went to another universe and then his daughter just disappeared. I never actually said what was the world breaking thing. Is it just that apparently
he found another universe where Miguel O'Hara died,
and
he took that Miguel's place, and just him being there was wrong for the universe, and it all just fell apart.
Yeah, he started saving people, I guess, as Spider-Man, and that destroyed the entire universe. Because he says you save one too many captains, or you save too many Uncle Bens, and then the next thing you know, the world will be destroyed. I'm yeah, it seems like he created an incursion event.
Yeah, which I sort of get, and I kind of get that, like, like all kind of like multi-universe and multi like timeline stuff. That whole paradox thing's gonna happen. It's one of the bits that I don't like because, like, one, I'm like, well, how are they gonna get over this challenge in the third movie? Like, what's
Hmm.
gonna happen there? Like, because you don't have the thing of Loki, where like in Loki, it's like we are keeping it all the same to prevent chaos. So like it's not that like everything will be destroyed if they do it. It's just that like bad stuff could happen. They basically unleash Kang the Conqueror, Krang, whatever his name is.
Kang, yeah,
Um,
Kang.
that they
He's,
unleash him basically.
I didn't. I almost now that you mentioned that, like, it almost kind of makes it. Miguel was almost kind of making his own TVA in a sense. Like, if you think about it, he wasn't trying to protect the sacred timeline, but he was trying to protect like the Spider-Verse, like the sacred Spider-Verse timeline, basically.
Yeah, like, but this movie is set up that like it won't just like mean that anything could happen. It'll literally like these people will cease to exist, which I'm not convinced by. Again, it's mostly because I'm like, okay, fine, if that's the rules of your universe, okay, but then how are we gonna get away from that? And I mentioned it to you off air. Like, there's the whole thing of like, one, I'm like, well, if Miles is an anomaly, when they're saying he can't save his dad, why does that matter? Because if he's an anomaly, then does he have to work to the rules of the rest of the Spider-Verse? Like, is he going to have the same canon events? And then oh yeah, that's what I said. How does Scarlet Spider fit into that? Because the Scarlet Spider is a clone, so came from an existing Spider-Man's universe. Like,
Yeah, I'm like, and then the other Spider-Man became Spider Carnage, but I'm like, but even then, it's like, which one is the actual Spider-Man, or are they both just Spider-Man? Do they both have to have canon events now? I'm like, it kind of makes it a little weird, which is why I'm like, so to go back to Doctor Strange one more time, or to go back to Spider-Man No Way Home, actually, he says
oh
like the
yeah,
multiverse is a concept that we know frighteningly little about. So it's like, dude, you get when like one of the smartest like sorcerers in the universe doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. I'm like I think I feel like Miguel O'Hara. Yeah, he did something wrong or he fucked up in one universe. Like, yeah, it shows it like when he saves the Indian Peter, the Pavi, when he saves his girlfriend and his dad, and her dad. Yeah, like the universe starts like imploding on itself. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to, because like we talked about it off air, that when Gwen Stacy's dad, he says he's going to quit the Force and no longer be captain. That doesn't break her universe. Like, and same thing when Miles, like, so far, like when Miles's dad like died, he still, like, in the other universe he became a Prowler. That, like, not having Spider-Man there didn't break the universe; it just changed it. Like,
yeah,
so it's the thing is that what is canon, and honestly, when a new Spider-Man pops up, who's to say what their canon events are?
yeah. Like so I'll be interested to see what happens with that. Like, yeah, I want to know how they're going to get themselves out of it. Whether the fact that it's called Beyond the Spider-Verse suggests that essentially the Spider-Verse, the bad thing that Miguel's trying to prevent will happen. And hopefully it'll be a bit like in Endgame of, like, or Infinity War, where the snap did happen and then something
And
has to happen after that. Like,
and
we'll
the
see
spiders,
what
like
happens.
all the spider people, have to come together to fix it.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe like they'll all end up inside the spot or something. I don't know.
Ooh. Although
Like,
the way it's making it seem, like with the Spot obviously being the main bad guy of the next one, it makes it seem like, though, now that at the end of the movie, so spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, but at the very end of the movie, Gwen, she ends up getting like her own little time or like universe hopper from Hobie, and like he builds his own, which I also love that in the middle of the movie when he meets Miles. He tells him, like, why do you want to join this team anyway? Oh, because it's cool. They can jump from universes and they have these cool watches. Just build your own. Well, how am I supposed to do that? And then all the while, Hobie's stealing little pieces of technology so he can build
yeah,
his own watch.
yeah. Which I love that. I like when that was revealed. I was like, oh, that all adds up. It's fantastic.
And so, yeah, but like with doing that, he gives it to Gwen. And I love how with doing like in doing so, she gets all the whole team together. She gets Spider Ham, Spider-Man Noir, Penny Parker, and then Hobie and Pavi, and then also, of course, the other Peter, the original Peter, like whatever. And like she gets her own team of Spider people together, and it makes it almost seem like they're gonna have a fight between the original Spider team and like between Miguel's team and theirs.
I Do you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because it was one of the few things that throughout the movie I was going like, "Where is Spider Noir? Where's Spider Ham? Why haven't I seen the friends that we made in the first movie?" And then they turned up at the very end, and I was like, and then they were gone. So I am disappointed that I didn't see more of them. Like, I
Because
get
John Mulaney was in rehab at the time, and I
it.
apparently that's the thing is that, yeah, he was in rehab in like 2022.
Oh shit. Oh, I hope
So
he's
yeah,
doing okay.
but yeah, like watch his newest special. He talks about it at length.
Oh, I will check that. I like John Mulaney a lot.
But yeah, so I think that's the problem there is he was in rehab, and maybe Nicolas Cage either was busy with another movie or just said no.
Nick Cage never says no. We've seen the movies that man's in.
See, yeah, Han says it's an overall fun watch. Oh, no, Doctor Strange. Okay, says, oh boy, I enjoyed it. It was something else, not the best pacing, but some different outcomes than usual. And yeah, this is for Doctor Strange. Agreed. It's a great movie. Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home were awesome movies. I think, and I think they do really well establishing the multiverse.
Was that Hans was talking earlier about the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War movie? Was it that?
Yeah, we at one point they started. Melvin also got on about Flashpoint Paradox and Red Sun. But yeah, well, let me see if I can find that comment about.
Yeah. Also, while you're looking for that, I'll just say Mumatan, or Mumtahan, I apologize. Says when we get in the remaining Resident Evil audiobooks, I don't know. I really do want to do them actually. I keep thinking about them a lot. That I'd like to get onto those. It's just time. I don't have that much time these days. And obviously I try and get at least one audiobook out there. But if I'm able to at some point, I would like to start reading Resident Evil again. And I'll go back and I'll do the Umbrella or the Mansion Conspiracy or whatever it is, and the Umbrella Conspiracy, I think it is. Get onto that, and then we can do Nemesis, and we can do Underworld, and all that good stuff.
Nice. And I'm also working on. I believe I don't know if I told you that, but I'm working on what's it called? Star Wars Republic Commando Hard Contact right now. I'm actually working on part. Yeah, I'm getting on part 2 right, and so I'm waiting until you're done with Plagueis to start releasing those. So that way
nice.
I can have them all just like built up like 3 or 4 parts already done, and so I can just release it that way.
Very nice. Yes, I think people are gonna like that.
I hope so. I hope all you guys like my crappy Jango Fett impression.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, but see, Melvin said, or Hans is asking Melvin if he's seen Justice League Dark Apocalypse. I saw that movie, and that one gets crazy dark, and they have to do this whole like Darkseid wins. He destroys like half the planet, and by the end of it, they actually have to get Flash to like do a Flashpoint paradox and like reset the universe, which is why we're in this new line of DC animated films. Like, there's a whole thing behind that, dude. That movie it's crazy.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and then he also says, yeah, Melvin also talked about how Red Sun, how like Flashpoint Paradox he liked, and then how Red Sun was weird, and it's because of what if it was a story of what if Superman landed in Russia instead of America. And so he becomes Russian Superman, and like he starts going a little 1984 on people.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
Yeah, and Batman is Russian too. There's like apparently the Green Lantern Corps becomes like Marines, like they're the Air Force. Like instead of Hal Jordan becoming Green Lantern, the U.S. government starts studying the ring technology and creates a bunch of rings and makes the Green Lantern Corps out of Marines.
Oh damn!
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like I liked it, but it is a little weird. It's like a what if, what if Superman was evil kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds interesting. I mean, I feel like DC's done that a lot. Not gonna lie.
I feel like a lot of people have done that a lot. Like, Homelander, Omni-Man, like the Batman v Superman. Like everyone does evil Superman.
Yeah. All right, DC. Whatever.
Justice League Dark Apocalypse what was ass. Wow, Mr. Action, tell us how you really feel.
Ooh, hot takes. And Mr. Action's also working. That's the web game magazines that you're working on, Mr. Action.
Web game magazine. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah. It's been licensed by iOS to make web game magazines.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Keep us informed about that, Mr. Action.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, all right, so here, let me see here. All right, so here's my question: is where do you think we're going to be going with this now? Like, we're still, like I said, we with this movie kind of left on a cliffhanger. They didn't finish anything with Spot, nor did they finish anything with Miguel O'Hara. So, how do you think they're going to wrap that up in another 2.5 hour movie?
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm trying to think of like what needs to still be resolved. So they need to find out where he's got to. So now, I think to the audience, it's obvious from what we see that if the spider was from Universe 42, he's ended up in Universe 42. Presumably, you'd like to think that Miguel O'Hara and the Citadel of Rix can figure out like that they can just look at their machine and go, "Oh, it sent him to Universe 42." Like, but they didn't do that to follow him. They went to the universe they think that he's from. So
Mhm.
be interested to see like what happens with that. But I also with that I suspect that I can't remember the name of any of these spider people really, but the virtual Spider Woman who was working the machine, whether she's gonna still continue to defend Miles and won't like let them know where he is.
That's a good
Maybe.
point. Maybe she's like a double agent. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
Which I also like I did think it was kind of interesting that that happened in that movie. That like Miles is so into Gwen, like he, you know, like he really fancies Gwen and wants to be with her and see her. But then, but then a cute new chick turns up and he's like, "Oh hey," he's that meme of the guy like turning around from his girlfriend, like, "Oh hey, hi."
That
So
is kind of
like,
what happened, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, and it's kind of fun because I was like, "Oh yeah," and they both kind of go, "Hey, hey, what you doing?" Like,
Like, how you doing? I think it's because he got a little insulted that she was with Hobie. It's like, oh, I see. I leave, and then you just go with the first guy that comes. Yeah.
who does essentially feel like tall punk Miles. It's just like, oh,
Kinda.
you went for a new me. So that'll be interesting. So they got that to figure out. He's got to get around his alternate self with him as Prowler. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of that. I imagine that's going to take like a good chunk of the movie. Is sort of dealing with the two versions of him and whether actually the Prowler version of him maybe becomes like a bigger villain, like that'll be helping Miguel or something chase him down or something along those lines.
Hmm.
But don't know. Like I say, I think that maybe the Spider-Verse the bad stuff that Miguel's trying to stop will happen,
Hmm.
and they'll just have to deal with the consequences of that rather than being able to avoid it entirely. Um,
I would be interested to see Miguel like learn the lesson that's like in fact, canon means nothing, or like, or at the very least, like some Spider-Men are not, beholden to those canon events.
yeah, I have a suspicion that maybe a key to this is going to be the Spot changing his mind on being a bad guy.
Ooh, that would
That
be
it's
interesting.
yeah, that they're going to find out that the only person with the power to put this back together is the Spot, and they have to kind of Steven Universe convince him to be a good guy and get him to put things back together. Maybe that'll be it.
Hmm. See, what I'd be interested in is that, so let's say we do have a canon event, like something happened, like let's say he like all right, so Spot, like they have to work together, like the team, whatever, maybe both Spider teams end up forming teaming forces and actually taking down the Spot, like whatever. Let's be like the first half hour of the movie will be the fighting, like with them fighting Spot and taking him down. In doing so, Miles Morales will save his father from dying, but that'll cause, like, even with those spots down, that'll still cause the event that causes like the universe to start crumbling. But so how much you want to, like, my thought is this, is that in doing so, in trying to fix it and trying to like do whatever, his mother ends up dying, and that ends up inadvertently fixing like the system. Like he ends up, instead of losing his dad, he loses his mom, and in doing so also has to learn, like, oh shit, they're right. So like sometimes things have to happen. Like sometimes some stuff, like Spider-Man is, like I said, being Spider-Man is a sacrifice. So yeah, like even though you saved your dad, you cannot save everyone. It's like it's physically just not possible.
I think you are really onto something there. I think something like that will happen. His mum would be a good candidate for that. I did wonder whether Gwen will die. Whether we'll just do that again.
So there was a weird part where she's like starts falling and he catches her with his web, and like they don't really like talk about it very much, but like she's falling for like slow motion for a second, and he just grabs her with his web, and she's like, "Are you following me?" And I'm like, that was an interesting shot right there.
Yeah, and like, and she says it. She says the thing of like, in every universe, Gwen Stacy falls for Spider-Man, which I thought was a fun way of putting that. I was like, yeah, they do, and not in a good way.
But in every universe, it never ends well. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's also in this universes where Gwen Stacy falls for Peter Parker, not for Miles Morales. So again, so what is a canon event really? Like,
yeah. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my thing, especially with the way that they made it seem that like his relationship with his mom, because like they have the part in the parent teacher conference where he has a B+ in Spanish, and his mom snaps at him in Puerto Rican. Like I love that she snaps it and then the Puerto Rican flag comes out. Like like she's like, what the hell, man? Like like she has this whole thing about him and his his future and everything. Later on at the party, same thing. She's like, go after your girlfriend. Like, I understand you're a kid, like do your thing. And I feel like they're very much trying to build up that relationship, even though they're making it seem like the dad is the important one. I'm like, dude, his mom's gonna die, and that's gonna break him so much more than his father's death ever would.
Yeah. You're right. It would mean a huge amount. Hans has put in into the chat saying, objection, Miles should be his own character. How about no dead relatives / friends, etc., being more done than evil Superman? Which I do see where you're coming from, and I do kind of agree. The movie so far has this setup of like it's a core thing to Spider-Man of like having that moment, which is interesting because he could already have that, because he already had it with his uncle. Like he had his uncle die. And like that was like that moment in the first movie. So maybe they could get away without it having it happen again. I don't know. Oh, the fourth survivor also asking for more Resident Evil audiobooks. Thank you.
Nice.
I would like to at some point. I really would. I'll try to even get back on it. Perhaps since we're going to have another Star Wars book from Gilbert, when that's happening, I can do Resident Evil.
Hell yeah.
Maybe we can do that.
So real quick, I want to put this out here. I'm not gonna say what this is. I just want you guys to go click on this link at your own risk and understand that this is a horrible. Whoever made this joke, y'all are going to hell.
Ooh. What?
Yeah. I went to YouTube and I looked up, just like I clicked in Spiderverse, and that's one of the first things that popped up. Yeah. So like I said, click on that link at your own risk, but that's what a canon event is.
I appreciate that the joke is like, because it does show the morality of Miguel O'Hara. I was like, you let that happen? Would you let that happen, Miguel? Because it's a canon event.
Yeah, but he just make an interesting point. Like during that whole conversation that they were like, Uncle Ben, if it hadn't been for Uncle Ben, like none of us would be here. Or if it hadn't been for the death of Gwen Stacy, or, for like the death of Captain State, like most of us would not be the Spider-Man that we are. And that's very much true. Like a lot of what makes Spider-Man who he is the fact that Uncle Ben died because he was fucking around. Like, so it makes the question, like, it doesn't necessarily mean break the universe, but what happens in a universe where Spider-Man or Uncle Ben doesn't die?
Yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting to see, I don't know. It's like all sorts of things, like, I think that should happen because of the multiverse thing. I think we should have space for a Spider-Man that has not had like their Uncle Ben or their Uncle Ben equivalent die. But I don't know. I don't know. It depends what you want to do with Spider-Man, I suppose. Like if you want to have that real core thing of like the entire point of is that with great power comes great responsibility, understanding that there are costs to these things, that you can't just be having fun, then I get why it might be seen as integral to a Spider-Man story. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you could probably do that. Like, to be honest, I feel like if you did so, like I know it didn't work the same way, but like with the Spider Woman that's disabled, like it'd be interesting if you had like rather than that was just where they were already disabled and the superpowers didn't fix it, which I understand why they're doing. That's a good point there, saying just because someone's disabled doesn't mean that they cannot be a superhero. Like Like, if they've got superpowers, why could they not use superpowers in a wheelchair? I completely get that, and I like what they're doing there. But also, like, what if the Spider Person like disabled themselves through being Spider-Man? You know, and that was the thing. And it's like, instead of losing your family member, like, you change your life permanently. Something bad happens to you because you were Spider-Man, and you take it on you rather than the usual thing of, oh, the people around you get hurt. Yeah,
that's an interesting point. Is that, yeah, what if Spider-Man had to deal with the consequences not in their family but on themselves?
Yeah,
like
you could do that in loads of different ways.
See, and so yeah, and here we said with Melvin. But if Miles was never meant to be Spidey, then he wouldn't have a canon event. Yes, which is true. Like, that's my thing. Is I feel like Miguel O'Hara, he's kind of like correlating some of these. Like, he does show his Uncle Aaron dying and correlate that with the same, like, as Uncle Ben, or as, you know, Gwen Stacy dying or whatever, or in Spider-Gwen's case, Peter Parker dying. So, like, yeah, they do show that, but at the same time, like you said, Miles Morales he's not supposed to be Spider-Man. So yeah, his canon events would technically not apply in that universe. Like, it's an interesting thought. But I'm interested to see what happens in this new universe now that he's actually there with Miles 42. Like,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see that, because, like, as well, the logic doesn't necessarily add up for me, because then, like, if that universe doesn't have a Spider-Man, they show it, you know, it looks like the alternate timeline from Back to the Future 2, where Biff took over, you know, and everything's full of crime and stuff. But if that universe doesn't have a Spider-Man, and breaking away from these events can literally destroy the universe and a big void appears, well, why is Universe 42 still around? How does that exist without its Spider-Man at all?
See, that's my thing, is that, like, exactly, because Spider-Man didn't exist. Like, in theory, Peter Parker is either somewhere around in that universe or he died.
Yeah.
So I'm like, with that in mind, or maybe that's the thing. What if that universe was the universe where Miles was supposed to become Spider-Man? Like, and the reason because he didn't, he ended up becoming Prowler instead.
It'd be interesting to see.
Here's my thing about that, is that, yeah, the spider came from Alchemax. But why did it choose to bite Miles? Like, why did it, like, it came from Alchemax because they popped it into this universe from Universe 42, and then it somehow escaped and then ended up in the sewers and chose to bite I'm like, I don't know, maybe there's something to do there with, like, that Miles was the person supposed to be bit, but not that Miles, the Miles from Universe 42.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see like where they go with that. I'm concerned that it won't make much sense at the end of it, that there will be big plot holes.
I hope not. Like, some people say that there already are plot holes. They say that, like, I see some people who talk about how, like, they arbitrarily, like, changed some of the rules from the first one, which I don't necessarily know about. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but yeah, it's like, let's see if I can find the comment I saw the other day.
I mean, stories like these are notoriously difficult to do, and it's not like, you know, like things like Endgame and the Infinity War stuff are like perfect. So I can let some things slide if I feel like the story has been satisfying enough. But yeah, that's one of my concerns, is that ultimately it just won't feel satisfying because it feels like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So okay, I can't seem to find it. Was on Twitter somewhere, but yeah. At any rate, the point is that, yeah, like, it seems that some people are thinking that this is, like, they're kind of painting themselves into a corner here, and I don't necessarily know if they are. I think that it's we have to just kind of wait and see. It might not be very good. Like, the third one might not be good. Who knows? It might be the worst of the trilogy. But all I know is that we just we can't be sitting here being like, oh, it's gonna suck after this movie. I'm like, we gotta wait and see. Maybe they stick the landing. Although maybe it ends up becoming like a 3-hour movie.
I mean, you know, like, let's as long as we don't have a really poorly done girl power moment with all the female spider people, like, that would be nice.
I mean, I think this movie did a fine enough job of being equal opportunity for both men and women spiders, like, for both a disabled and non-disabled. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no,
it was plenty
good.
inclusive.
Yeah, it's an inclusive movie, and I really appreciate it for that. There's so much to like about this movie.
Also, one of the greatest parts: "Stop, Spider-Man! You," and they all do, like, the Spider-Man meme.
I like the idea that, like, all spider people are, like, susceptible to that. It's like their one weakness is they can all become memes at any point. And they even had the 60s animated Spider-Man turn up,
That's
which was
right.
quite nice.
How useful can he really be? Honestly, he like Miles like zips right past him because he's 2D. Like how useful can he really be to them?
He's simple Rick. I think is what he is.
Simple, he's simple Rick. That's good. Which one is Doofus Rick? Probably Spider Ham.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if I should even be talking about Rick and Morty anymore, but I was like, this whole plot line is too similar to like so much stuff they did in that cartoon that I'm like, we're all gonna notice it.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you mentioned the fucking what's it called, the Back to the Future, because I was thinking about making that joke of like, we skewed into this alternate 1985 where Uncle Aaron is alive and porking your mother, Miles. I'm like, that's the totally what I got, is that like, yeah, Uncle Aaron and his mom are like. Maybe I'm just projecting there, but I'm just like, I feel like he'd be that kind of guy.
I don't know. I did like some things about that. Like I liked that, like they showed that like how he's like giving her money, like oh, we're family, and so I kind of appreciate that it is like in this world it is like where the crime side kind of took over. Like also that like Uncle Aaron is like not stupid, and he's like, you are not my Miles.
Yeah, you're very much, you're acting different, your hair is different, just everything about him. Yeah, although it does seem interesting how he's just like, he has the sense to tie him up and put gloves on him, so it shows that they know something about that Miles, like, or they know something about the multiverse.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how that goes. I do want to see more of that story because it just seems really cool.
Yeah, I want to see how, like, all right, let's do this the last time. My name is Miles Morales. I'm the Prowler. And, like, you should see how he became the Prowler.
Oh, that would be cool, actually. Oh, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. That'd be nice.
Because they kept that going, that whole thing of, like, throwing the comic book down and being like, I'm, whatever, and I'm the one and only Spider-Man. Like, that was really cool that they kept that trend going. And they made it, again, they found actually, like, work with everyone they did it to.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd be interested to see them do that with like a more sinister version with the Prowler. Let's see here. All right. So I think we pretty much talked most of this movie. I mean we made a few predictions. We asked the pool or the group or the chat what they thought. I guess I'll put it at a rating. Like, it now comes down to the ultimate like question, Harrison. Is it better than the first one? Like, what do you rate this movie? And is it better than the first one?
I like this movie. I think I enjoy the first one more. Like, I think because the first one, and certainly right now, because the first one is a much better, like, contained story. It does have that sequel bait at the very end of it, but like, you could literally have never made a sequel to this movie and it would still work. So I really like the first movie. So I can't say that I prefer this movie over that one. I think the first movie, the story's so good, the soundtrack's so good. I think it looks amazing. I love everything they do. I love like the Fisk that they have in it. I adore that film. So this one's good. I think I'm gonna give it like because I don't prefer it compared to the first movie. I think I'm gonna give it like a 4 out of 5, maybe a 4.5 out of 5. Just to show that, like, I don't think it is the best, and I'm really hopeful for the third one, but it's I'm probably never going to sit down and watch this movie on its own. Do you know what I mean? Like in the future, there's never going to be a time where I'm like, do you know what? I don't really want to watch the others. I'm going to just watch Across the Spider-Verse. I'll have to like watch it as a double bill with this and the third movie.
One. Yeah, that's a fair point. Without the first one, this one is lesser. So I'll agree to that. The first one is better, if only because this one wouldn't be as good if the first one didn't exist.
Yeah, and I think like it's going to be hard to watch this again, knowing that it doesn't go somewhere. So if there's a point where I can stream or have Blu-rays or something of the second and third movies, I'll probably always be watching them together. Like one night you watch this and then the next night you watch the third movie so that I can get that full story.
Yeah. And I'm interested, like I said, I'm interested to see how they go with the third one. I really hope it sticks to the landing and makes this like trilogy one of the best Spider-Man trilogies of all time. Because right now, as it stands, the best Spider-Man trilogy is probably going to be the Tobey Maguire one. Well, that's not
Mm.
true. No, that's not true. The best Spider-Man movie is probably Spider-Man 2, and then after that is No Way Home. So
Yeah, because I think as a trilogy, I mean, yeah, that third one does spoil it for me with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and I really like the Marvel the MCU Spider-Man movies. Like that first one, I love. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man movies ever. Like I think it really captures like a teenage Spider-Man really well. I really
yeah,
enjoy
like
it.
Homecoming. Oh, exactly. That's a good point. The Marvel Spider-Man trilogy is really good.
Yeah,
Spider-Man 1
yeah.
was lit. Spider-Man 1 was lit. I would agree to that. Like I think Spider-Man 2 is better, but yeah, Spider-Man 1 was good. Far From Home was ass though. Yeah, that's because they botched Quentin Beck. Because they totally botched Mysterio. Well, not totally. His powers were more or less like that. That was pretty spot on, using like the drones and shit. But his origins and like, I used to work for Stark. He called my thing fart. Boo! Or like, just stop being a little whiny bitch, Jake Gyllenhaal.
I mean, like it might be here on this channel. I think it is on this channel that we have the audio comic we made of like his first comic appearance. And I'll honestly say that I think that the Quentin Beck origin there was better than like when he's like, I was a special effects man. I had spring boots and suction cups on my feet so I could walk on walls. I'm like, all right, sure thing, Stan.
Oh, the 90s. Good times. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm going to be right there with you. I'll give it about a 4, maybe a 4.5, because it was not bad. It was really, really good, but it was not as good as the first one. And yeah, it did a lot. It was trying to do a lot in like a short amount of time, and that's what ended up leading it to be as long as it was.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, which I'm expecting to also be long because they've got so much stuff to work out. It'll be interesting, and
the 4-hour extended cut.
I mean, yeah, like this is hopefully there will be a decent Blu-ray set or something with this, with loads of extras and stuff that we can see, because this is one of those movies where like I think there's going to be loads of interesting stuff to see about how it was made, the art direction, the stuff that they put in, the stuff they chose to put in, the stuff they chose to take out. I think it'd be fascinating.
Oh yeah, I know it's not a Marvel Studios thing, but I would definitely watch like a Disney Plus, like the Assembled or whatever, like the documentary and how they made it. I would definitely watch that.
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
So all right, everybody, I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up here. Yeah, if you want to just let us know real quick before we head out where you rated it, I'll shout you out real quick. But until that time, thank you to Justin, to Hans, to Mumtahan, to Mr. Action, to let's see, we had Melvin is in here, we had PQ in there for a minute, Tasha, we had a few people in here. But
yeah, the fourth survivor, I think was in here.
Yeah. So all you guys, everyone who, if I forgot your name, if I forgot to call you out, I apologize. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. If you still are, you guys are awesome. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment below. Check out our other videos. Check out Harrison's audiobooks, our other podcasts. I have no idea what we're going to be doing next week for our podcast, but we're going to be doing something good. So, get ready for it. I had that sitting there the whole time. I'm like, there's going to be a time when I'm going to be able to use this episode, and I never did. Also this one.
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
I love that line for some reason. It's the funniest thing. I also have that one with the J. Jonah Jameson laughing and the no from the 90s, but yeah, no. I wanted to use Spider-Man stuff this episode, but I didn't do it.
Also, rated T for Toxicus. I just noticed you were in the chat as well. Hello, thank you for being here.
Yeah, that is Tasha. Yeah, T for Toxicus. That is that's Dead Guy's sister.
Ah,
a good editor could fix it quickly, I think, or could fix it easily. Thanks, Gilbert and Harry, and Melvin gives it a 6. All right, that's not bad, or a 4.5. No, 4.5 out of 5. Yeah, we give it.
Yeah.
So for you give it a 3 out of 5. Mr. Action gives it a 9 out of 10. Nice. And so yeah, thank you all for watching. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being a subscriber and a Knight of Fulcrum. You guys rock. And remember, we are all Fulcrum. So we will see you guys next time.